Hey guys, so today we're going to look at another amplifier and network streamer. So this is the Denon CEOL RCD N10. I just call this the Denon N10 from now on. So basically this is an amplifier which is also a network streamer, so it can play your music files from other sources like off of your network or through Spotify or Deezer or Tidal, whatever streaming service you use. So you can play stuff through Wi-Fi. It also has Bluetooth. You can also connect to a bunch of other sources too, and it also has a CD player built in. So this thing actually does a lot. In fact, I can't even find any other brand that makes something like this. Like I looked at NAD, I looked at Cambridge Audio, Yamaha, Pioneer, Sony, like all the other brands, they don't make anything like this actually. They don't make any amplifier that's also a CD player that could also do wireless music streaming and stuff at this kind of price. So if there is something like that, like the Technics or something like that, I think might make something like that, but they're very expensive. So maybe Sony or Marantz or Technics, they might make something like this, but they're all way more expensive. So this I got for $400 actually. This is a B stock, but even brand new, it's not that expensive. It's like $600 or something like that. So I think this is a very well costed device if you want something that can do like everything. Right? So you don't have a lot of money or you have like a limited budget, but you want to have something in your living room or your bedroom that can pretty much do everything. It takes care of Bluetooth, the network streaming. It could, you attach a record player or any kind of auxiliary input to it. And you have a CD player as well to play your CDs. So it really can play from almost any source, and it's not that expensive. So yeah, let's take a look at this device. I'll also be comparing it with my current network streamer, which is a Yamaha WXA-50. And I was actually looking for something that could maybe replace my Yamaha because it could also be a CD player as well. This is actually cheaper than the Yamaha, and it has a CD player built in, which my Yamaha doesn't. So I'm going to compare it to that as well. But basically, this thing is surprisingly light for how much technology it packs inside. So yeah, it's surprisingly light. Like this is my Yamaha WXA-50. Believe it or not, this is much smaller than the Denon. You can see how big the difference is, right? Look at the footprint of the Yamaha compared to the Denon. So the Denon N10 is a lot bigger, but this is actually heavier. This Yamaha is actually heavier than the Denon is. The Denon, despite being much bigger, it's not that heavy. I think it's just the materials they use too. I think the Yamaha uses aluminum here and some metal, but the Denon uses mostly plastic. So I think that's one reason why it's cheaper, but also lighter as well. So yeah, let's take a look at this device. So pretty simple to use. At the front panel here, you have a basic power button here. You can insert a USB, and I think you can charge it here as well. So you can charge your smartphone and stuff like that. Here you have your headphone jack, and then here you have your CD tray. You pop out the CD. So yeah, that's pretty basic controls. And you also have touch controls on top as well. So HEOS is basically the wireless streaming system that this uses. So Denon, Marantz, and Onkyo all use HEOS, and I've used HEOS a bit before with my Marantz. It's fairly simple, easy to use, comparable to the Yamaha's MusicCast app, I would say. And then you have touch controls for volume, and you have a source button to switch the different input source, back button, enter or play or pause, and the navigation buttons right here. I guess they put touch controls on the top here to save space. I also would have preferred physical controls though, because I don't know, touch controls can sometimes be a little bit, they can sometimes like not register the inputs properly and stuff, so I always find them a little bit of a hassle to use. But yeah, touch inputs are fine if you want to save space on the front, right? And that's pretty much it for the main controls. And then on the back you can see the different connections. So like I said, this can actually accept a lot of different connections here. So in addition to all the wireless stuff, so it has HEOS and it has Bluetooth, but you have a lot of other connections you can use too. So you have wired connections here, such as 2 optical inputs, and you have analog input. You can put your, if you have a turntable, this doesn't have a phono preamp, but if you have a phono preamp for your turntable, you can obviously use this as well. You have a subwoofer out right here. You have network RJ45 Ethernet connection. This is for an antenna, I believe, and FM radio. So you can put like an FM radio antenna here if you want. And this is to go out to your speakers, to power the speakers. And I believe the amount of watts on this is, let's see, 55 watts. So, pretty good actually. So yeah, it outputs 55 watts per channel, which is enough to drive most speakers, I would say, unless you have like 4-ohm speakers or yeah, very high-end speakers, which you wouldn't probably use this with high-end speakers. This is supposed to be a budget option, but yeah, for like your typical under $1,000 speakers, bookshelves or whatever, should be able to drive them fine. Class D amplifier, of course. I mean, at this price range, that's what you get. I mean, at this price, I mean, I got it for 400 bucks. You can get it brand new for not much more. It just gives you a lot of value for the price, right? So 55 watts, pretty good. And considering you get Bluetooth, you get HEOS, which is Wi-Fi streaming, and you get all these different digital inputs and analog inputs here, optical input, you know, RCA input, and you have a CD player as well. Not that many companies make CD players much anymore, so that's really cool. So this is what they include. Obviously power cable. This is a FM antenna if you want to connect to your FM radio as well. So you have that option. That's another source that you have. And this is the remote. So this actually looks pretty similar, I would say, to my Marantz remote, because it's the same company. Marantz and Denon are actually under the same parent company. A lot of different options here. And I can tell they kind of just reused the similar remotes for Denon and Marantz's in Onkyo's actually product lines. There's a lot of options here I probably wouldn't use because, yeah, like favorites and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, you can tell there's like a whole bunch of different inputs and stuff like that, but this is probably way too overkill for something like this. This is like a TV remote, or actually TV remotes are simpler than this. This is like a receiver remote, and I think they probably reused, Denon makes a lot of receivers and amplifiers and stuff, so yeah, I think they probably reused that. And yeah, if you guys don't know Denon, by the way, they're a Japanese company that's been in the industry for over 100 years now. I think they started in the early 1900s. And they're most well known for probably phono cartridges and turntables initially. But then later on, they became more famous for amplifiers, receivers, speakers, and that's pretty much most of what they're making now. But yeah, you can tell this is definitely taken from their receivers and bigger amplifiers. So that's a lot of different options here, like all these numbers and stuff like that. There's no way you need to use that with something like this. So that's clearly meant to be used with like a receiver. Anyways, I'm be comparing it against my Yamaha WXA-50, another well-renowned Japanese audio company, which also has very similar capabilities actually. Also 55 watts output on this one as well. And it has Bluetooth, it has Wi-Fi streaming via Yamaha MusicCast, and it has different inputs as well. Though compared to the Denon, it doesn't offer as much value as the Denon, because this is one optical in, the Denon has two, and this, well, it's better built for sure than the Denon, right? This uses much more sturdy. The materials are definitely much more high-end, but it's also heavier, and it doesn't have a CD player. The Denon has a CD player. So yeah, I guess there's a few pros and cons here. This is also more expensive. I got this for 600 bucks, but it actually retails more for about $800 or something. So yeah, the retail price of this is much higher, and technically has fewer features. So in terms of value, the Denon is definitely better value than the Yamaha. But let's compare the sound quality and see if there's actually a big difference between the two. Because you are paying, what? The retail price for this is like $300 higher than the Denon's, and it doesn't have a CD player. However, this is better built, and I don't know, MusicCast compared to HEOS, I think they're similar, right, in terms of usability and functionality. I don't know if there's actually a big difference in how they sound. But let's test them out against each other. I'm gonna hook this up to my Martin Logan Motion 2Is. These are just small bookshelf speakers, just for testing. So I can hook it up to these two. Of course, most people would probably be using bigger bookshelves than these, but these are actually pretty compact, so I can just easily test them right here. So got some speaker cables here. Let's hook them up. Alright, so comparing the Denon N10s versus the Yamaha WXA-50s, well, I'll tell you guys the pros and cons of each, okay? So the Denon N10's advantage is that I think it provides you very good value for the money. Like, basically, if you want just an all-in-one system that can do everything, that can take in all different sources and stream everything, so it has Bluetooth, it has Wi-Fi streaming through HEOS, and it can play CDs, and it accepts analog and optical inputs, then yeah, you can use it with your TV, right, since it has optical. and aux input so you can connect your record player or something else to it. So if you really want just like an all-in-one device that can kind of do everything, including playing CDs, then the Denon's really good, and it's a better price too. It's more affordable. Like I said, I got this for $400 US, but you can also, you know, even a brand new, you can easily find it for 500, 600. So it's a very well costed player. 55 watts of output power is enough for most speakers that you get under $1,000. So all in all, I think the Denon's a pretty good value, and the remote is a little bit overkill, but but yeah, I mean, it's light too. It's much lighter than you would think given the size. Now, the advantage of the Yamaha, first of all, compared to the Denon's, it is heavier despite the fact that it's smaller, and it does not have a CD. Does not have a CD player. So if you want a CD player, then the Denon's definitely the way to go. In addition to all the wireless streaming stuff and other inputs. The Yamaha can also stream through Wi-Fi, has music cast, and it also has analog and digital inputs too, as one optical, whereas the Denon has two, and has one aux in, just like the Denon's. So all in all, it has lesser inputs compared to the Denon's. The Denon's have a CD player and has an extra optical input. The output power is the same, so this is also 55 watts, just like the Denon's. The remote for the Yamahas is actually much smaller, so this is the type of remote I would expect the Denon's to have, but I think Denon saves some money by reusing the same remote that they have with their receivers as well. But Yamaha, this one is the type of remote I would expect to have with this kind of device. I mean, for streaming devices like this, you don't need too many functions on your remote, right? So just a small remote is okay. Look at the size of the Denon's remote compared to the Yamaha's, right? So yeah, I think Yamaha definitely has the right way to go here with the smaller remote. But definitely it's better build quality. So like, because it is heavier, and that's because it's better built, right? You can tell it's like got aluminum and metal here, so it's heavier but better built, and it takes up less space actually because it's smaller. So yeah, I would say that's the things about it. The Yamaha also, this has a analog volume control, whereas the Denon has the volume control is just up here. You gotta use the touch controls. I personally am not a huge fan of touch controls. They can be finicky at times. Yamaha does not have any touch controls. They just have physical controls like this, so it's pretty easy to use. But yeah, they all have the similar kind of inputs and outputs too. They both have subwoofer out. So if you have a subwoofer, don't worry, they both have subwoofer out. Another thing I have to note, annoying thing about the Denon's, is that the speaker terminals here. The speaker terminals here do not accept regular banana plugs. They accept kind of these mini banana plugs, or you have to use bare wire, or you have to use maybe spades might work. But yeah, they don't accept your standard banana plugs. So that's something I found out when trying to connect my speakers, is they don't accept your standard size banana plugs. So that's an annoying thing about the Denon's. I don't know why they did it that way. The Yamahas just accept your standard banana plugs. So these are your standard banana plug inputs for your speakers. So yeah, that's another thing I have to note. If you have your cables and stuff all terminated in a standard banana plug, the Denon's probably wouldn't work. You need another terminator for that. So that's just a heads up. If you have cables that have standard banana plug terminating connectors, the Denon's use different ones. So just be aware of that. You might have to change your cables if you go for the Denon's. What else? They're pretty much similar. This one has an FM transmitter as well. So the Denon's also have an FM transmitter. I don't think the Yamaha has anything like that. Otherwise, I'm not sure if the sound quality is any different between the two. A lot of people, you know, claim that amplifiers have different sound quality, so that's why they have more expensive amplifiers and stuff, like Nime or, you know, Lin, like any of those really more expensive amplifiers, Macintosh, right? But, you know, I think both of these are pretty well costed. It's just the Denon's much better costed. They're both from well-known Japanese audio companies. So the difference in the apps themselves, so I'll show you guys. MusicCast is like this. This is Yamaha MusicCast. I'll just go to the demo right here. So you set up different zones, I guess. For example, I go into my living room, and then you can see all the speakers in your living room connected, and you can create new routines to have it play certain music at certain times, and yeah, you can add different devices and stuff like that. And otherwise, you have your home. You just add your source here. So for me, I have a DAP here, so I can add music from my DAP. I can have timer settings, I can have surround settings, enhancer settings right here, dialogue level and stuff like that. So a lot of different settings right here. Especially, I think these are more useful if you're playing from a TV, playing movies or something like that, like dialogue enhancer or pure direct mode. And yeah, just input your sources in here, and it'll just kind of gather all your music from a variety of different sources, whether it be from your DLNA network, NAS drives, or your, in my case, my DAP, or you have online streaming sources like Spotify or Tidal. Then you can put them all in here, and you can just play from here. So it's fairly easy to use MusicCast. It's also fairly easy to use HEOS. So this is HEOS. So this is a different app. HEOS, very similar to MusicCast actually. So I have my Marantz right now is HEOS connected, so I have it set to my main zone, and then you can gather music from different sources again, just like with MusicCast. So you have SoundCloud, you have Spotify, Deezer, Tidal, right? TuneIn, I don't use that one. SiriusXM, different music servers, or you can just get it locally from this device, which is what I do. And then you have it now playing, right? So I would say overall, actually, maybe the MusicCast might have a few more interesting settings and features compared to HEOS. HEOS is maybe on the more basic side. It just lets you put all the sources together and play music, and that's pretty much all it does. MusicCast, you have a few extra settings, I think, in addition to that, but also pretty similar. So here are the different sources in MusicCast, right? You have your phone, server, Bluetooth, USB, tuner. You can even like put in video files here as well. So all in all, it's fairly similar to HEOS, but I think it does a little bit more than HEOS does, like a few extra settings and stuff. But they're comparable. I would say if you just want to stream music from somewhere, they're comparable. The main function of both apps is to gather all your different music into one place from all your different sources, whether it be networked or local or from streaming. So yeah, it's just that HEOS is a bit more simpler, I would say overall, and the MusicCast gives you a little bit more options. Both of them are kind of below BlueOS, I guess. The Node Sound app, that one has a few more features than these two. That one's probably the most complex of all the different streaming apps, I guess. So BlueOS is probably the most complex, but I like HEOS and MusicCast because they're simple, easy to use. So that's it, guys. Yeah, I wish I could show you some demos, but unfortunately I can't connect my speakers to the Denons because I don't have the non-standard plugs that they require. So I just use standard banana plugs. So I can't connect any of my speakers to it, unfortunately. But you know, I'm just going to tell you guys how I feel about them, just from the perspective of what value they give you. The Denon is the better value. I mean, you get a CD player, right? That's how many companies still make CD players, much less one where you can get all these different inputs. You can do network streaming, and you can have your traditional analog and digital inputs and Bluetooth, and you can do it at an affordable price, right? Like $500, below $500. So that's pretty incredible. So for the amount of value that you get, I think the Denon N10 is very good. The Yamaha is an option for those who don't care about the CD player, and you just want like a very good value streamer. And the Denon can do streaming too, right? So, I mean, the Denon can do everything the Yamaha could do. But I guess if you want, if you care about more space in your bedroom and stuff, or living room, if you're like, if this is a little bit too big for you, then the Yamaha is definitely smaller and more compact, as you can see. So I guess that would be one reason to go for the Yamaha, and it's better build quality as well. And if you really, you know, think MusicCast is better, then yeah, go for the Yamaha. Otherwise, I think they're both good value systems. So, yep. Just for me, I think yeah, if I just want like something that can do everything, including playing CDs, then I'll probably go for the Denons. But if I don't care about CDs, then I'll probably go for the Yamahas. It's just more compact. It feels more solid, and yeah, like I think it's just a simple no-frill system. Even the remote's very easy to use compared to the Denons, and plus I can use my standard banana plugs, right? I don't have to use special plugs in order to connect my speakers to the Yamaha. So I'll probably just go for the Yamaha, unless I really want that CD player. Then I'll go for the Denons. Then if it has, like, if you have a bunch of music sources from everywhere, vinyl, CD, online in the cloud, streaming from somewhere, then the Denon is probably the best way to go. Otherwise, I think I'll go for the Yamaha because I don't have too many CDs. So, as you guys, let me know what you guys think. Would you choose the Denons, the Do It All package, or would you go for the Yamahas, which are like more compact, probably more suited for streaming, but that's more of what's focused on. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Yeah, I think what it comes down to is, do you care about CDs or not? If you have a CD collection and your music is spread out across various sources like CD, online network, and analog sources like vinyl, and if you want one amp that can do it all, then the Denon is basically the way to go. But if you don't care about CDs, or you don't have a lot of CDs like me, then the Yamaha is a good option too. If you really like the MusicCast app, then the Yamaha is a good option. It's just more compact, it's very well built, and you don't need a special kind of cable connectors to connect your speakers to them. With the Denons, you need to use like, special connectors for connecting your speakers, and that's kind of annoying. With the Yamaha, I just use my standard banana plugs. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Would you choose the Denon N10s or the Yamaha WXA-50? Let me know. And as always, thanks for watching.